only one more sleep. Unless you're so excited you won't sleep, of course. And in which case there's no more sleeps until our European adventure. Cannot wait for that. I'm absolutely buzzing, as you may well have noticed, by the way. I'm pleased it's the early kickoff as well tomorrow, rather than the sort of, whatever it is, the 7:45 one. It's the earlier one tomorrow. Because I just can't wait. It's like somebody telling you that Christmas Day's been delayed by a few hours. No, get it in there nice and early. Really looking forward to the build-up show. We'll be live an hour and 5 minutes before kick-off, by the way. And just everything buzzing about that. And I'm pretty sure that all the players are as well. The suggestion is, by the way, that Bowen won't travel. That's good. I actually hope he misses Aston Villa as well. And I'm hoping, obviously, on the assumption that we're still in the tie, and then we get a really fit and rested Bowen to go with the second leg against Sevilla at the Olympic Stadium next week. Oh, that'll be absolutely magnificent. Declan, it's a tougher one to call. I'm sure they're probably flying out right now as I'm recording this video, actually. I think if he travels, he plays. I would think so. It's going to be really, really interesting, and maybe Bowen being out, just it's another body that David Moyes doesn't have to worry about. But this would be big. Wouldn't be surprised if all the players and the coaching staff would have found it really hard to focus on the previous games. I think they did a great job against Liverpool, but I wouldn't have blamed them if their focus was actually on Sevilla. I'd imagine since the moment that draw happened, everyone at the club's just been looking at that and, almost, a distraction, like a gaze that keeps you looking the other way. So, absolutely brilliant. Really looking forward to that. Just thanks for everybody that posted really nice comments yesterday. I sort of said about reaching the 15,000 subscribers. I'm not that bothered about it, in all honesty, because for the reasons that I said yesterday. But I was so chuffed with so many. Thank you for everybody that did subscribe yesterday. I'd much prefer people to watch the videos than just be sort of dormant subscribers, if you like. But it was actually the comments that people said on the videos, and so I really thank you. I read them all, and and replied to many. So hopefully, onwards and upwards. Hopefully we continue, and we'll carry on doing lots of videos for your viewing pleasure or disgust, whichever it may be. Talking about viewing pleasure, I've got to tackle this subject here because it's a story. It's on Caught Offside. It's on a number of websites now. Newspapers have picked up on it, and that's that Said Benrahma is up for sale. No big surprise, it has to be said, on this one. I'm always a little bit reluctant to do Said Benrahma videos, if I'm honest with you. If I'm totally honest, because he's probably the most difficult of... He's got a cult following, basically, and because of that, if you ain't giving him 10 out of 10, then he's a difficult guy to appraise, because, you've got to be very, very careful. I think I would find I have to choose my words more with how Benrahma plays the game of football than I would if Antonio or Cresswell have had a bad game. I think I can just say, Cresswell was crap today, and you just don't get the backlash. He's a very there's a bit of a cliche with him that's come out. It's a very West Ham Benrahma specific cliche, and you hear it whenever Benrahma has a bad game, and you might say, I don't think he was very good today. People say he's an easy target. Well, number one, he shouldn't be a target at all. He's not a target because it's nothing personal. Actually, the guy is a lovely guy. Look at what he did when he left Brentford. He gave his loyalty bonus to all the staff there. So, I mean, it's nothing about him or his family. He's clearly a really, really lovely guy. So it's not a target, is it, if you're saying he didn't play well today? But people say he's an easy target. Oh, he's really not. He's really, really not. He's the most difficult of all the players in West Ham squad to discuss. So, anyway, it's just not really worked out for him, has it? Let's be perfectly honest. And as I understand it, he is available. I don't know what he's available for. But I think we paid £24.8 million for him. I think the thing is, there's always... People get very annoyed with David Moyes about Benrahma and their relationship or lack of it, or it's certainly perceived that other players get more of a chance under Moyes than Benrahma does. And I would agree with that, by the way. I would agree with that. But I think there's a very, very obvious explanation for that. And that is that he wasn't David Moyes' choice. David Moyes wanted a Eze. That's who he wanted. And then we didn't get him because we weren't able to sell Diangana in time, and it went on and went on and went on. even the club admit that they'd scouted Benrahma before David Moyes had done all the stuff. There's a couple of people at the club who really wanted this signing to go through. I think it got to the end. There were no other options. And in the end, they said, come on, should we get this? And David Moyes said, oh, yeah, go on then. But it was on a loan. That's why, if you remember, on transfer deadline day, we just did it alone. Moyes did not want to sanction the signing as a permanent signing. The trouble was that we needed to do the Jesse Lingard signing. You could only have 2 players on loan. We couldn't get the Craig Dawson deal over the line, so we made the Benrahma one permanent. David Moyes never wanted Benrahma, truly and honestly. And when you now look at the team and you look at how we play, there isn't really a Benrahma position in the way West Ham play. So you can sort of, I get it, I understand that would not be the type of player that he would want. It is a real shame because there is a really good player in there, a very, very skillful player. And a lot of people say he's a confidence player and he needs love and he needs this, that and the other. And I would agree with that. You can imagine Benrahma doing really well under Harry Redknapp, for instance. You know, given the freedom, being told he's the best player in the world and he's better than Zidane and all the rest of it. Being given lots of compliments, lots of cuddles, lots of, when I say cuddles, I mean metaphorically speaking. Really good man management. You can imagine him thriving and doing really, really well. But that's not David Moyes, which is probably another reason why David Moyes possibly didn't want him as well. Not only because he falls between the margins in what David Moyes wants as a player, and as I say, if he's going to be a left winger, it seems to be we don't really utilise one, not to that impact. I don't think he is one anyway. And I think if what you're looking for is David Moyes to tell everybody they're brilliant all the time, but David Moyes just ain't going to do it. If you remember, who was the guy that it was the Chelsea centre back? He plays for AC Milan now. Tomore, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm probably wrong. I think that's the guy. We bid for him. We were going to get him. We wanted to get him on a loan with a view to a permanent transfer. He wanted to speak to David Moyes because I think he wanted clarification. He was going to play a lot. Basically, I think he wanted to be told that he was wanted. Now, David Moyes wanted this kid. But he got on the phone to him, and David Moyes said, I'm not guaranteeing you anything. You're going to have to work hard, you're going to have to get fit, and you're going to have to and you have to fight for your place in the team. That's it. That's just what Moisey does. He's not that flowery kind who's going to tell players that they're guaranteed a place and they're the best player in the world and stuff like that. I just think that's the manager we've got. So it's no surprise to see him up for sale. No surprise at all. I think the problem you're probably going to have with him is who's going to buy him to get us anywhere near the price, the money back that we feel that we're owed. You know, I don't think you're going to see your 24.8 million again or whatever the case it is. I don't think you are. I think you might see 15 of that back. And I think the club and David Moyes are going to have to take, if that's all they get back into the coffers, are going to have to take some responsibility for that, because you get an asset like that and you don't use him in the correct way, he's going to depreciate. But by the same token, I don't expect David Moyes to change his team completely just to facilitate one player. Why would he do that when actually the way his team plays suits Antonio, it suits Bowen, it suits Rice. It doesn't suit Souček at the moment, by the way. And that's the other indication. But the system suits the way David Moyes wants to play. He's not going to change the system for Thomas Souček at the moment. And you would argue possibly our best player last season, so he probably should be changing it for Thomas Souček. Well, if he's not going to change it for Souček, he's not going to change the system for Said Benrahma. The same way he didn't change the system for Sebastian Haller. Now, I would argue, as a pragmatist, he probably should have done. When Antonio was out, he probably should have tweaked it a bit, but he's not going to. And at the point where you appreciate he's not going to do that, then you have to really conclude that Said Benrahma surplus the requirements at West Ham. And we're not going to know until later on in Benrahma's career if David Moyes was right or wrong, if David Moyes should have been able to get a tune out of him. We can say with certainty now, some things are not opinions, some things you can just wait and you can see, and Sebastian Haller is one. Sebastian Haller is clearly a top quality striker. He was top quality for Frankfurt in European competition before he came to West Ham. Crap at West Ham. Not to start off with, and Pellegrini, I understand that, but you understand what I'm saying. The reason we got rid of him, he just couldn't function under David Moyes. Goes to Ajax, top quality striker with European pedigree. You look at that now, and the evidence is clear. The evidence is there. David Moyes got that one wrong. He should have been able to do something more than that. You want to see more flexibility from your manager in that. We're not going to know with Benrahma. We will only see the evidence if he then goes on and does what Haller's done and really starts ripping it up for another team. I don't know. I feel a bit bad. I feel very bad for him. I feel a bit sorry for him. He does. He just doesn't. He doesn't fit in with what David Moyes wants to do, which is a massive shame. It is a massive shame because I do think he is incredibly skillful, and I do. As I say, I've watched a few of the videos of him on the training ground, and he's the most skillful player there. He really is. But I think even for his biggest fans would have to conclude that it ain't working for him. It ain't working. And I think as long as if you understand it ain't working, and if you also conclude that the manager is not going to change the way he is, and the board are not going to change the manager, because they won't. Why would they? Let's be fair, this particular board are not very good at recruiting managers. I mean, they even sacked the one we've got now before, they let his contract run down or whatever the case may be, but they didn't want to retain him. Let's put it that way. They're not very good, I don't feel, at recruiting managers. They've got one now that's working, and they're not gonna jettison the manager, certainly not to facilitate Said Benrahma. So I think even, as I say, his biggest supporters conclude he's probably run its course at West Ham. It is a shame. It is a massive shame. I wouldn't take it too personally if I were him, because one of the players that is David Moyes' choice, which is Nikola Vlasic, David Moyes don't seem to fancy him either. And so that's another thing, to really look at there when you look at Krau, Vlasic, Areola, who came in this season. He ain't overly keen to use them, is he? Zuma, yes, it's a funny one. I mean, what we certainly need to do is in the next transfer window, David Moyes is going to need to up his game in terms of players he recruits, because not all the ones he recruits and he says he wants work out. But there you go. I mean, it'll be interesting that there's a player there for somebody. If somebody in there is a team that wants to play in a flamboyant way, in a real attacking vitality, if you like. Funny enough, perhaps like a Brentford, if Brentford stay up, and I would expect them to. Maybe there's a deal to be done there, because they possibly still owe us some money. But unfortunately, I do think it's another example of a transfer where we've lost money, and they haven't all been like that. Kurt Zuma looks every inch a £25 million player. Bowen is worth exponentially more than we paid for him. Souček clearly is. I mean, even Soufal, I know he's got the injury at the moment, but we probably pay £5 million for him. He's worth a lot more than that. So it's not all of them, but when you look at the ones that were pre-Moyes, Anderson, Haller, massive losses. Up there as in terms of monetary value, the two most expensive players we've ever bought, and we lost all the money on Anderson, pretty much, didn't we? And lost 25 million on Haller. Oh, it's painful. So when you look at that, and then you look at the case of actually Benrahma's worth less, Vlasic is undoubtedly worth less. It ain't all good in the recruitment process. So you can understand why a recruitment specialist has been brought in, because we are going to need to do better. We can't keep hemorrhaging money. But there you go. Anyway, let me know what you think. Without calling him an easy target, please. And listen, once again, I just want to say thanks for all those comments yesterday. Absolutely brilliant. So thanks ever so much. Lovely comments on the video yesterday. Really enjoyed them. Anyway, that's that. Get ready for tomorrow. It's going to be a very, very excitable day. Cannot wait.